Hello, this is Reverend Sackett. As you can see, I'm standing in front of a cemetery, and this may seem like a morbid place to make a video, but let me explain why I'm doing it. The fact of the matter is, I don't think we think about death as much as we should. We take life for granted. We go in, day out, making grand plans for life, taking everything for granted, the people we love for granted. And then one day, we wake up and we get a phone call that our wife, our husband, our mother, our father, our children have died. And we just don't know how to deal with it. We automatically become angry. We become enraged. We wonder why it had to happen to us. Why did it have to happen at all? But one thing that we haven't been doing up until that point is thinking about the possibility of it happening. Not only the possibility, but the inevitability of it happening. It's going to happen. Everyone dies. And death is not a convenient factor. It doesn't pick the most convenient time for you. It happens when it happens. I think that it's the best thing for anyone to prepare for death, so to say, to realize that it is going to happen. There's really no way you can prepare for the loss of a loved one, but at least you can brace yourself for it happening. Sometimes I've often wondered that an individual who never had anyone that loved them does have one benefit. They will never have to deal with grief. And sometimes I wonder, is it actually worth having someone who loves you when it comes to dealing with the grief? I mean, is it worth the grief that you have to go through when you have someone who loves you? Of course, the answer to that is yes. No one wants to go through life alone just because they're afraid of grief. But grief is a very disturbing thing. It can scar people for life. But it makes me realize just how fragile existence is. Because I met a woman the other day whom I've known all my life. Very emotional woman. She has Alzheimer's now. And the strange thing is, her personality is gone. Her emotions are gone. Her husband just passed away last week, and she could care less because she's not even really aware of it. And it made me realize that all existence is in the mind. Everything that we see, everything that we're a part of, is all in our minds. And it doesn't really matter what's going on in the world outside of what we're living because we're not experiencing it. All that matters is what is happening to you in your life. Does it matter to you what's happening to me or what's happening to anyone else? No, because it's not happening to you. Everyone lives on different parallels, and all existence is purely in their head. Because if they had no mind to comprehend what's going on, then how could something be going on? It goes back to that old concept of a tree falling in the woods and no one's around to hear the sound. Does it really make a sound if there's no one around to hear it? Could life exist if there were no minds around to comprehend it? Everything that we see, everything that we love is all in our minds. And when we die, our existence dies. So if everyone on the face of this earth were to die, existence itself would slip away. Things would still stick around afterwards, but the initial existence that humans had grown so accustomed to would be no more. And it's all related back to this factor. The one reality that we cannot avoid, death. It's important to realize that no matter how protected you may feel, no matter how secure you may think your life is, you are never free from the worry of what can happen to you. And sometimes it's not the fear of death that is scary, but the fear of living that is scary. The fear of having something happen to you that's drastically going to change your way of life, and then having to live through that for years to come. Suffering third-degree burns, or getting paralyzed from the neck down and having to live with that for the rest of your life. It really makes you not want to take things for granted. And of course, there's no point in worrying about what could or might happen, but it is important to realize what you have, and to not take every day with such anger and hatred because you don't have what you want. Be thankful for what you do have and what you could lose, because no matter how much you think you may have lost, you can always lose more. And that's a simple fact of life. You can never escape the reality that haunts all of us, but one thing you can do is make your life better for yourself. because there's only one person who can make your life better, and that's you. That's very much a cliche, but it couldn't be more true. A lot of people live their lives in, day out, as if there's some benevolent force, the powers that be, controlling everything that happens to them. My mother was this way for a very long time. She felt that there was some power out there that was causing her to be grounded and eliminating everything that she could ever have, until she woke up one day and realized that she can change her life for the better, and that there isn't a force out there that's holding her down and keeping her from proceeding. The only person that can change your path is you. And I've tried to realize that myself, but it's a hard thing to do. You can't just wake up and say, I want to change my life, and change it. It takes a lot of drastic measures, but the important thing is that you're working on it. We are all human beings, and we all make mistakes, and there's no way that we can eliminate that. There's no way we can escape the fact that we do make mistakes. The best thing that we can do is accept the fact that we are human and work with that. But unfortunately, as Americans, the society that we live in forces us to deny the fact that we are imperfect and try to be perfect when we know we can't be. So, instead of striving for an impossible goal, instead of trying to be some perfect plastic statue that we know we're never going to be able to become, let's accept the fact that we are imperfect and work with that and see where we can go from there, instead of having this goal of becoming something that we're never going to become.